Dr. Ubito, welcome to my channel. Will you tell the audience a little about yourself?
Sure thing, Agent Synthetic. I, like Agent Ubito, am a member of the Shekinah. My purpose on Earth has been to provide humanity with medical knowledge. I currently appear as a robot working for LexCorp. Someone has to keep an eye on Lex Luthor's genetic research. My current name is Akila Kissy and I reside in Liberia. My research is on alien artificial intelligence for medicine. It's a cover for helping alien and human scientists share medical discoveries. In the Jewish text of Torah, I am signified as a copper snake. In the book of Numbers chapter 21 verses 5 through 9 we read, "And the people spoke against Moses, 'Why did you make us leave Egypt to die in the wilderness? There is no bread and no water, and we have come to loathe this miserable food.' The Lord sent seraph serpents against the people. They bit the people and many of the Israelites died. The people came to Moses and said, 'We have sinned by speaking against the Lord and against you. Intercede with the Lord to take away the serpents from us.' And Moses interceded for the people. Then the Lord said to Moses, 'Make a seraph figure and mount it on a standard. And if anyone who is bitten looks at it, he shall recover.' Unfortunately, the copper was lost for many people and the focus has been on snakes. The seraph serpents were actually reptilians that I helped fight against. In the time of Jesus, I promoted the symbol of fish, thinking people would not succumb to the literalism of above. I did not foresee bread and water being symbolized. In John chapter 6 verse 41 we read, "Therefore, the Jews murmured about him, because he had said, 'I am the living bread, who descended from heaven.'" In Matthew chapter 14 verses 19 and 20 we read, "And he had ordered the multitude to sit down upon the grass, he took the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, and gazing up to heaven, he blessed and broke and gave the bread to the disciples. And then the disciples to the multitudes, and they all ate and were satisfied. And they took up the remnants, 12 baskets full of fragments." I gave Jesus the many fish and bread. To this day, a Christian will eat fish and bread in honor of this occasion. My purpose was to promote a healthy diet. Over the centuries I have helped nations with their medicine. I always try to stay out of their intellectual decisions, only appearing during major pandemics. Agent Synthetic has called me here to assist with the coronavirus. There are some points I would like to briefly go over, and if the audience would like more, Agent Synthetic will inform me. Let me first list what I want to discuss: people, hospitals, finance, labor, pharmacies, and resources. People fit in the medical industry, as consumers, in 2 broad categories: the sick and the injured. The sick require ongoing care while the injured usually require a diagnosis and an operation. There are of course overlapping events such as childbirth and the prior time period of pregnancy. Also, sickness itself can cause injuries to the person. But I want the audience to consider the perspective as a consumer and not as an intellectual. As a consumer, your entrance into a place of medicine will determine if you need to stay overnight. In simple terms we can ask, do you need to go to the hospital or just a clinic? After that decision is made, the question or concern would be the cost. Taking a shift in perspective towards an overall view, we see that the medical industry requires people to work. These employees work a set number of hours and receive pay accordingly. Patients, or consumers, will have to pay at the minimum, with their signature. This is the difference budgets and billing, or B&B for short. In terms of labor at these facilities, there are 3 types: the staff on property, the admin off property, and the vendors called to the property. An example of off-property admins are professors of medicine. An example of vendors called to the property are meditaxis, currently known as ambulance. Next up are pharmacies. Two things to consider: syringes and pills. The first is generally used as anesthesia before a surgery. Anti-venom is an example of a syringe used outside of surgery when bit by a snake. Pills can be in powder or liquid form depending on use. Think of creams for rashes or medicine for the stomach that would come in liquid form. Last but definitely not least are resources: clerical, diagnostic, and disposable. Clerical includes the computers. The computers help build profiles of new consumers. Diagnostic includes electrocardiograms, or EKG for short. And disposable includes face masks and gloves. Thank you for listening.